A lot of movement in the Big 12 when talking specifically about the transfer portal. I'm Colin Kennedy. He's Brandon Marcello, national college football writer for us here at 247sports.com, putting a series together on all of this, by the way. And so he's broken all of this down already. Brandon, who very simply are the winners in the Big 12 right now when talking about the transfer portal?
Well, Texas got the big stars, really. I mean, how could you go any further than just saying Quinn Ewers is there at Texas and is going to have the spotlight of the country on him starting as early as this spring? Texas number one at plus 8.25, an incredible number, but they've only added 4 signees so far. They've lost 14 players. Watch them as they get into the second cycle of the transfer portal this upcoming spring and summer. Kansas State actually surprised me a little bit, ranking number 2 at plus 3.65. They got 5 players coming in to offset 11 so far leaving. And Nebraska quarterback Adrian Martinez, who it seems like he was at Nebraska for 26 years starting, he comes in. And Kansas State, as we know, they love veteran quarterbacks. They lose Skylar Thompson after 3, 4, 5 years of playing there. Now they got Adrian Martinez coming there as another dual threat. They're going to lean on him. And overall, their talent level, a great upgrade there across the board, not just on offense, but on defense. There's someone to watch. And I think the story that no one's really paying attention to in the transfer portal right now is what Texas Tech has done. We've talked about how the hiring and firing season seems to be starting earlier because of the transfer portal. Well, Texas Tech quickly made a decision hiring former Baylor assistant Joey McGuire there. First big hire of the entire offseason. He comes in. Listen, Texas Tech lost 7 players, right, in the transfer portal. He brought 8 in, and they seem set already. They're at plus 1.75 in net rating. No player is going to blow you out of the water when you see these names, but he stopped the bleeding when he got there. There wasn't a mass exodus, and he was able to get a lot of kids, not just to offset it, but actually get more bodies in the locker room than he first had. That's an incredible story to me. And then also Kansas. 7 newcomers coming in. They lose 12, but every single player, I would argue, that they've signed so far are upgrades compared to the players they're replacing. And Lance Leopold knows what he wants there. Of course, he's brought some players in from Buffalo, his former stop a year ago, but now he's been able to go around to the other Power 5 programs to get some players to fit in his system. And heck, we saw what they did last season against Texas on the field. They're trending up, and I'm really impressed with what they did in the transfer portal so far.
All right, let's hear the losers. Who in the Big 12 hasn't necessarily capitalized on the transfer portal, maybe when they needed to?
Well, West Virginia, here's the other thing. Every team in the Big 12 other than one is in the plus territory right now, which is unheard of. But West Virginia is kind of hanging around and maybe falling down that line. They've only gotten 4 players in to replace 17. Surprisingly, Oklahoma right now is at minus 1.36. They've lost 12 players to replace 10. Oklahoma, though, is actually maybe could be considered a winner in all this because the quarterback ratings seem to kind of envelop us all, of course. I mean, you lose your top 2 quarterbacks, Caleb Williams and Spencer Rattler, that's going to affect you. But they bring in Dylan Gabriel, the former UCF starter, who's a fantastic quarterback, is going to be the starting quarterback there. They've been able to replace some bodies on defense. I kind of like the haul there. I think that the net ratings maybe doesn't tell the full story for them. And Brent Venables has done a fantastic job coming in, one, building a great staff. But in the wake of Lincoln Riley leaving overnight, pretty much after the season, to be able to get 10 kids in after 12 leave, including some to USC following Lincoln Riley, it's been a great job by him. But they've got to pick it up in the recruiting trail when it comes to high school kids. But right now, I think they stopped the bleeding. And despite being that negative range, OU is still going to be a Big 12 contender next year and the year after because Brent Venables came in there and made sure that a potentially disastrous situation didn't get worse. And he actually kind of held the water at bay.
Going to be interesting to see how this all factors into a very unique and maybe rare race for the Big 12 championship eventually. Of course, you're going to want to check out Brandon Marcello on Twitter to follow this series as it continues to roll on, and check out 247sports.com for all things college football and recruiting.